Welcome back, everyone. In this video, we are going to style out the cart icon with style components. So as normal, we are going to first convert our style sheet over to a JSX. And the key difference in this component is primarily that there is an SVG in here. Now, one thing I want to note about converting and targeting SVGs is that you can even do this without style components. So I'm going to show you how I would tackle styling this specific component. Normally, you got to think about your components when it comes to whether or not you want to make a brand new component to wrap it, or if you want to target some other way. So the way that we want to target this shopping icon is we know that there's some styling that's going to be applied on this component. And as I mentioned before, we can actually directly just target our own components, including these SVG components. So here what we can do is we can actually say export const shopping icon. And instead of this being shopping icon, let's call this shopping SVG, because we want shopping icon to be the name of the style component that we expose. I'm going to say styled on this shopping SVG component. And then what I'm going to apply is the styling here with the width 24 and the height 24. And then we can just style everything else as normal. So here I'm going to do cart icon container, which is a style div. Oops. Let's just fix that. That will have this width. Now, as I mentioned before, instead of doing it this way, you could have also technically targeted it with the SVG, like so, which is the typical styling way. But this way, I find it a little bit more within the alignment of how style component wants you to write your components. And then the last thing is our item count, which I believe is a span. Yes, it is. So here we can just paste in those styles that we had, and we can save this and now import this into our component. So of course now we already have this coming from our style sheet now. So we got our shopping icon, our cart icon container, as well as our item count. So now our shopping icon can stay the same. This will replace the div right here. And then the item count, of course, will replace the span. And there we go. If we go back to our application, we see that everything here still works. Our icon still has the styling. It's still at the appropriate size. So now let's style the next thing. And this is our directory item. So the directory item styles are pretty comprehensive. Plus, there's one additional thing that we're going to learn through styling the directory item, because right now we actually apply a custom style property using what React gives us as this style prop. We actually don't need this because we can pass props directly into all of our components that we make with style components. And this is actually a very, very powerful thing. Because now what we can do is we can treat these components as if they were regular components. But there's a little bit of syntax we have to learn. So let me show you. So first we import style from style components. And now what we need to do is let's think about what it is exactly that we're trying to do here. So first things first, let's talk about the targeting. This component needs to target a background image class. We can actually make a component for this background image, but we have to make it in the order in which it will get called. So if inside of directory item container, one of our styles targets this component, then we need to have that component already declared. So here I'm going to say const background image is equal to a style div, because that's what this background image is. So this style div is going to have a couple stylings on it by default. So the first one is going to be all of these styles. So let's just copy this over. And then what it's going to have is typically when you use this background image. As you can see here in this div, we passed the style, but we can't do this anymore. Instead, what we're going to do is we are going to actually pass this as a value, and we can call it image URL. You can call it whatever you want. It's really just the prop name that we're going to access the same way we will later inside of our components. So let's imagine instead I pass image URL into this component. The way that I can access it is I can actually say background image is going to point to, and then I'm going to string interpolate, because this is just a backtick string. So now I can actually access the different props that get received in just the way that you would like a component. You write a function, and what this will be is props, which means that we can destructure off image URL because that is being passed in as a prop. And now what we can do is we can return back a string that says URL wrapping the image URL. It's the same thing that we had before, but now we're passing in as a prop and then rendering it within the CSS of our background image. So after this now, we need also to look inside. Notice how we're also targeting a body. We're changing the opacity when this component gets hovered on. So we actually need this body first before we can target it inside the component. So I want to say const body is equal to a style div. And this style div is going to accept all of this styling here. And also inside, it targets the h2 and the p tag. So if you're wondering, with this h2 and this p, is it worth creating a new separate style component for it? Well, this is where you need to think. If you know that your component only has one h2 and one paragraph tag inside of this body div, then you don't need to. If you start adding more h2s and you want different styling, then you can start splitting it up more at a granular level into more different style components. But generally speaking, it's based on how you would normally write your CSS anyways. So this is one of those things. It's just really a matter of thinking about your composition and what you need and what you don't need. So now that we have both the background image and the body, we can finally do export const directory item container. And here it'll be equal to a style div. And inside, let's add these styles. So this hover style is very important. We want to take this over. And inside, notice on the hover. So here we target a background image. Instead, what we're going to target is directly the background image style component that we have. And the same thing is going to apply for the body. There we go. And that is pretty much all we need, unless I'm missing some other styles. Let's just double check. Oh, I'm missing these styles right here for first child and last child, relative within, side of our directory item container. But I think this is it. As far as this large, I actually believe this is not being used anymore. So we actually don't need this styling. So let's just clear out that old CSS. And now let's import this and use it in our directory item component. So here I'm going to import from our directory item styles. And now what we need is the background image, we need the body, and we need the directory item container. So here at the top level, we're going to get rid of the container. For background image, we are going to get rid of this div while making sure to pass the actual image URL value still through. And then for div body, let's just get rid of the div. And it looks like perhaps there is a bit of an issue here. Oh, I'm missing an opening tag. There we go. Okay, let's go back to our application. Let's go to the home page. And there we see we have everything working. We can also capitalize these titles if we want very easily with a little bit of CSS magic. We can just go to the H2 which is actually inside of the body. And here we can say text transform uppercase. And now if we save this and we come back, we should see that all of our titles are now uppercased. Okay, so this component, the primary thing I want you to realize is that you can pass whatever props you want into these style components. This gives you a lot more power in deciding what CSS rules you want to generate inside of these components. You can even determine if you want to add additional styling here and there by using this pattern. So this is another great benefit that we get with style components. You can treat them like components and they can receive props. So now after this, the last thing we need to style is going to be actually one of the more complicated components, maybe the most complicated one, which is our form input. And we'll do that in the next video.